Assalamu alaikum everybody. Our lesson today is talking about how to use a protractor like which is shown here to measure and draw angles. So again guys, our lesson is talking about how to measure and draw the angles using that protractor like half of the circle which is drawn here. So firstly, before taking everything, I want you to know that we have to know in this video three parts. The first part we have to know kinds of angles or identify types of angles. The second one, how to measure an angle correctly using a protractor. The third part, how to draw an angle. So firstly, let's know what are the kinds of angles, what are the types of angles, like what did I tell you before. Of course, guys, you know that there are four kinds of angles. But before this one, let's know what is the angle. What is the angle, guys? The angle, of course, is a figure formed by two rays sharing a common endpoint called the vertex, like that one. Okay, this of course this guys is an angle. It has two sides. It has two arms. The first one, this one is the first ray, it's ray one, and the other one is ray two, and those two rays are sharing a common point, a common end point, which is called here the vertex of the angle. So this point is what? Is the vertex of the angle. So the corner of the angle here is called what? Is called the vertex of the angle. So I want you to know this one very well. So what is the vertex of the angle, guys? Which is the black point here, which is the corner of the angle, which is called vertex of the angle. Okay, after knowing the angle, guys, after knowing how to draw the angle, first I want to know the types of angles. Of course, you know that there are four types of angles. What is the first one, guys? The first one, yes, it's exactly like that one, which is acute angle. Yes, what about the acute angle, guys? What about the measure of the acute angle? Of course, you know that the measure of the right angle exactly 90 degrees. So what about the measure of the acute angle? Of course, you know that the acute angle is open less than the right angle. So it's of course less than 90 degrees. So the measure of the acute, any acute angle, its measure must be less than 90 degrees. What about the second angle? It's exactly 90 degrees, which is called, yes, which is called right angle. So the right angle, how many degrees again? It's exactly 90 degrees. The third angle, which is called, yes, obtuse angle. What about the obtuse angle, guys? Of course, you know that the obtuse angle is open more than the right angle. If the right angle is 90 degrees, so of course the measure of the obtuse angle will be more than 90 degrees. What about the fourth angle, which is straight angle? What is the measure of the straight angle, like what did you take in the previous lesson? It's exactly 180 degrees. After knowing the types of angles, guys, again, there are four types of angles. The first one is acute, it's measure less than 90. The second one is right, it's exactly 90 degrees. The obtuse angle, which measures more than 90 degrees. And the last one, which is a straight angle, which is exactly 180 degrees. After that, guys, how to measure? How to measure the angle? Today we are going to use a geometric tool which is called a protractor to measure the angles. So firstly, how to know or how to measure the angle, as I said, not like the other lesson using the angle 30 to measure the other angles. In this lesson, I'm gonna use protractor. What is a protractor here, guys? Like that one, like the shown shape here. This, guys, is called a protractor. So please, if you don't have a tool like that one, please try to buy it, because I want to use this one to measure the angles. So what is the protractor, guys? The protractor is a tool used for measuring the size of an angle. So how to measure, how to get exactly how many degrees, how to get exactly the size of an angle using that tool, which is called protractor. So let's know now how do we use the protractor to measure the angles. There are some steps here, guys. Okay, so what is the first step to measure the angle using the protractor? Firstly, place the center of the protractor on the vertex of the angle. Of course, you know the vertex before, which is the corner of the angle. So the first step, if I want to use the protractor to measure the angle, I have to follow those instructions. Firstly, place the point place the center of the protractor on the vertex of the angle. The second one, line up one side of the angle with zero line of the protractor where you see number 0. Then the third one, the other line, of course, tells me the size of the angle. Let's see now. What about this protractor? Of course, we're going to use this protractor to measure the angle. Firstly, as I said, you place the center of the protractor on the vertex. Where is the center of the protractor? Which is that red point? This point is called the center of the protractor. After that, line up one side of the angle with zero line, like that one. This one is the zero line of the protractor. After that, of course, the other line tells me the size of the angle. Do you see the other line stopped with which number? Is looking at which number? It's exactly with 60. So the measure of this angle exactly 60 degrees. So again, guys, how to measure the angle using that protractor? Follow those steps. Firstly, place the center of the protractor on the vertex. Then line up one side with the zero line. After that, the other line, of course, must stand with a number, and that number tells me the size of the angle, like the shown one here, which measures exactly 60 degrees. Okay, let's take 2 examples here. If I said use the protractor to measure the shown angle like this one, how can you measure this angle easily? Of course, I'm going to use the protractor. Okay, so how to measure this angle using a protractor? As I said, firstly, place the center of the protractor exactly on the vertex of the angle. Then the initial line or one line of the angle must be with the zero line on the protractor exactly like that. Now, guys, look at the other line. Don't look at the horizontal line. Look at the other line. The other line exactly stopped with which number? Stopped with 40. So how many degrees for this angle, or what is the size of this angle? Yes, it's exactly 40 degrees. Okay, what about the other angle, guys? The other angle is 115 degrees, but I want to make sure. How to make sure that that the measure of this angle or the size of this angle is 115 degrees? Of course, using that protractor. Also, I'm going to use the protractor by the same way, using the same way. Firstly, place the center of the protractor exactly on the vertex of the angle. Then the first line or one side must be with the zero line of the protractor, and I can measure it easily exactly like that one. Firstly, look at the other line, guys. Look at the other line exactly stands between 110 and 120. So this line is exactly 110 or 120? No, not one of them. It's exactly between them. So the other line, the other line exactly between 110 and 120 degrees. So of course it's exactly 115 degrees. So the measure of that angle will be 115 degrees. So again, guys, we're going to use this protractor easily to measure any angle to get the size of the angle exactly. Okay. After that, here the answers of some questions in the book. Firstly, for question number 1, what is the angle measure of the straight angle? I think that you know this one before a long time, that the measure of the straight angle exactly 180 degrees. Question 2, what are the vertex and rays of the angle ABC? As I said to you, how can you draw an angle exactly using 2 rays are sharing common endpoint, which is called vertex. Okay, so what is the vertex and what are the rays of this angle? What is the vertex easily? How do you know the vertex easily? It's exactly the middle letter, which is letter B. So the vertex of the angle, which is B, and what about the rays, guys, which is AB and BC. So the rays of the angle, of course, meet at its vertex. And what is the vertex? It's B. Okay, so what about the rays, guys? The rays will be ray BC and ray BA. Question 3, he said from question 3 to 4, use the protractor to measure each angle. How to measure those angles? I think that you know that I'm going to use the protractor to measure them easily. So the first angle is 35 degrees, and the other angle, also using the protractor, will be 160 degrees. And after that, how to draw an angle. How to draw an angle easily, guys? Exactly using the protractor also. I'm going to use the protractor to measure the angles, to measure the drawn angles. Also, I'm going to use the protractor to draw an angle. If I want to draw an angle 110 degrees, how to draw an angle easily? Firstly, guys, I want you to draw a horizontal line or a horizontal ray like that one. Then get the protractor and exactly put the vertex or put the center of the protractor exactly up of the beginning of the line or the end point of that ray, exactly like that point, like that one. Then after that, I want to draw how many degrees, guys? I want to draw an angle 110 degrees. So with 110, put a point with number 110 out of the protractor like the red point here. Then connect that point with the other ray to make an angle 110 degrees. After that, how to draw an angle 50 degrees using the same way. Firstly, draw a horizontal line, a horizontal ray like the drawn one here. Then use the protractor, also put the center of the protractor exactly on the vertex or on the beginning of that line of that ray, like that. Then with 50 degrees, put a point out of the protractor like that, like the red point here. Then connect that point with the beginning of the ray, which makes now an angle 50 degrees. That's everything, guys. Thank you so much. And what about those questions, guys? If I said for question 7 to 14, measure each angle and tell if each angle is acute, right, or obtuse angle. What about question 7? Of course, question 7, this angle, yes, seems as an obtuse angle, but I want to get exactly the measure of this angle. Yes, I'm going to use the protractor. So what is the measure of this angle? What is the size of this angle? It's 125 degrees, and you know that the measure of the obtuse angle is more than 90 degrees. So of course, this angle will be obtuse angle. What about question 8, which is so small? Exactly, will be acute angle, but I want to get its measure. Also using the protractor will be 10 degrees. Of course, will be acute angle. Question 9, this one, I don't need someone to say this one is 90. Of course, this one is not 90. This one is less than 90, which is 85 degrees. Of course, because it's less than 90, will be acute angle. What about the other one? Yes, it's obtuse angle, which measures exactly 145 degrees. So this one is going to be obtuse. The other one, because this one forms a square corner, it has a square like that one. Of course, directly say it's right angle, which measures 90 degrees without using the protractor. Everybody must know that. So this angle is going to be 90 degrees, which is right angle exactly. Question 12, this one, of course, acute, which measures how many degrees? Yes, 40 degrees. What about question 13? This one, it's more than the right angle, which exactly 105 degrees, which is going to be obtuse angle. And the last one, of course, will be acute angle, which measures 20 degrees. That's everything. And thank you so much.